You know those people who think traffic laws are just suggestions? Yeah. This guy was so impatient, so convinced the road belonged to him, that he ignored a stop sign completely and almost slammed straight into me while I was backing into my own driveway. And the best part? After nearly causing the accident himself, he got angry at me. What happened next was one of the pettiest and most satisfying moments I've ever experienced. If you've ever dealt with an impatient driver who acts like everyone else is the problem, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for a revenge story so petty, yet so satisfying, you'll probably be smiling by the end of it. Now let me tell you exactly what happened. I live on a quiet suburban street with one incredibly annoying flaw. The entrance to my neighborhood is a T intersection. Now normally, that wouldn't matter. Except for one thing. People never fully stop at the stop sign. Ever. They do those lazy little rolling stops where the car slows down just enough so they can technically pretend they obeyed the law, before immediately accelerating through the turn like they're qualifying for NASCAR. And honestly, most days I just ignore it. But my house sits less than 30 feet from that intersection, which means every single time I come home, I have to turn right at the stop sign, then immediately back into my driveway. I know some people think backing into a driveway is annoying, but trust me, getting out in the morning is way worse if I don't. The street gets busy before work, visibility is terrible, and pulling out forward later is basically gambling with your insurance premiums. So I always back in. Always. And because my driveway is so close to the intersection, I leave my turn signal on after making the right turn so people behind me know exactly what I'm doing. Simple, right? Apparently not. That night, I just finished grocery shopping. Nothing dramatic. Nothing unusual. I remember the fluorescent lights from the grocery store still burning into my eyes as I drove home. My trunk was full of bags. Frozen food. It had been a long day already. I was exhausted. The kind of exhausted where even taking your shoes off feels like a major life achievement. As I approached the intersection leading to my house, I noticed headlights behind me. One car. Close. Too close. Immediately, I already knew what kind of driver this was. You develop a sixth sense for it after a while. The impatient tailgater. The "why are you driving legally in front of Emmy" type. Still, I did exactly what I always do. I came to a full stop at the sign. A real stop. Not a roll. Not a tap of the brakes. A complete stop. Then I turned right. My blinker still ticking. Tick, tick, tick. I could already feel the car behind me creeping closer. And in my head I'm thinking, please don't be stupid. Please don't be stupid. But of course, he was stupid. Since there was nobody coming from the opposite direction, I swung slightly wide so I could angle perfectly into my driveway. Completely normal maneuver. Completely predictable. Especially considering my turn signal was still ON. Then I shifted into reverse. And suddenly, screech, brakes, loud, violent, the kind of sound that instantly tightens your chest. I looked in my mirror and saw the car behind me stopped at an awkward angle, inches from disaster. Because this absolute genius had decided the stop sign didn't apply to him. He'd followed me through the turn without stopping. And when I started backing into my driveway, he realized way too late that I wasn't continuing down the road. For half a second, everything froze. My reverse lights illuminated the front of his car. His headlights blasted through my back window. And then I saw it. The passenger. This grown man was practically vibrating with rage in his seat. Hands flying everywhere. Mouth wide open. Clearly screaming. I couldn't hear a word through the glass, but honestly, I didn't need to. You ever see someone so angry that you can understand the swearing just from their facial expressions? Yeah, that. And the entire time, I just calmly continued backing into my driveway. Slowly, carefully, like nothing had happened. Because technically, nothing had happened.
No que liczę.
No damage. No problem. Except for the fact that this guy nearly caused an accident because he couldn't tolerate waiting an extra 3 seconds. The passenger kept staring at me like I'd personally ruined their night. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there thinking, you ignored the stop sign. You ignored my turn signal. You ignored basic driving logic. And somehow this is my fault. The sheer audacity almost made me laugh. I finished backing in perfectly, straightened the wheel, shifted into park, and before getting out, I looked directly at them. Not angrily, not aggressively, just blankly, like I was genuinely confused how they managed to fail such a simple task. The passenger threw his hands up again in frustration. The driver accelerated away dramatically, tires spitting against the pavement like he was escaping a crime scene. And that should have been the end of it. But here's the thing that made the whole moment, for once. I didn't feel guilty. Normally, after road rage situations, even when the other person is wrong, there's this tiny voice in your head wondering, could I have done something differently? Not this time, because I had done everything correctly. I used my signal. I stopped at the sign. I checked the road. I backed in carefully. I followed every single rule. And their entire meltdown happened because they chose not to. That's what made it feel so weirdly satisfying. Not because I won. Not because they got humiliated, but because impatient people almost always expect the world to bend around them. And for one beautiful moment, reality said no. I grabbed my groceries and headed toward my front door while their car disappeared down the street. And I swear, I was smiling the whole way inside. I didn't yell, didn't honk, didn't flip them off, didn't chase them down. I literally defeated them by obeying traffic laws. That's it. Their own impatience trapped them. Their own bad driving embarrassed them. And deep down, they knew it. That's why the passenger was so furious. Because anger is easier than admitting you were wrong. And the image of that guy screaming through the windshield while I silently backed into my driveway like an NPC in a video game? Absolutely priceless. Petty? Definitely. Satisfying? Unbelievably. Sometimes karma doesn't need some giant master plan. Sometimes people create their own consequences all by themselves. All you have to do is let them. If this story made you laugh, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. What's the most ridiculous road rage moment you've ever witnessed? And if you want more satisfying revenge stories just like this one, stick around. There's plenty more karma coming.